Hi, I'm Anna Bryson, education reporter on the state politics team here at the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Today is election day and polls are open across the state. With me today I have Dave Ress, state politics reporter, and Andrew Cain, our state politics editor. Dave, abortion is one of the key issues in today's legislative races. How has that been playing out?
Well, it's been interesting. Ever since the Dobbs decision that overturned Roe v. Wade, the Democrats have been saying that this is going to be the issue that's going to win them back the General Assembly. The Republicans, basically Glenn Youngkin, the governor, have kind of responded with a, instead of a really extreme sort of anti-abortion stance, saying, well, what if we do a ban after 15 weeks with exemptions for rape, incest, life of the mother? And the idea is that they're pitching is that this is a reasonable sort of middle ground. There's a lot of talk about how this is what prevails in Europe. And so the debate now has been about the Republicans saying, well, you know, we want to be reasonable about abortion. Democrats saying this is just the first step in what will eventually be a much more limited restriction on abortion if Republicans take control of the House and the Senate.
Mm-hmm. Andrew, what are some of the other big issues today?
Well, the governor has been promoting how during the first 2 years of his administration, they've returned more than $5 billion in tax relief to Virginians. And the Democrats note that they've forced the governor to make those one-time rebates instead of permanent tax cuts that would have lasting ramifications for the state's economy. Democrats have also been pushing that they've been a driving force in increasing funding for education. The governor has also been noting the push for more funding for mental health as well. So Dave, Youngkin's also talked about backing the blue. What's that been about?
That's, well, you know, that's a major theme, that Republicans like to position themselves as being pro-law enforcement. One of the issues that's at stake, since fundamentally we're about who's going to control the General Assembly, is what happened with the criminal justice reform measures that passed in that brief period when Democrats controlled both the House and the Senate in 21-22. There's been, he had made a big thing about a bill that the Democratic majority in the Senate was able to stop that would have made dealers drug dealers subject to a felony homicide charge. Oddly, you know, he mentions that sometimes, but that was one I was expecting to be, you know, all over those, you know, black and white, you know, red tinged flyers that are the standard thing now in opposition mailings. And really haven't seen it. I'm surprised I haven't seen it quite that much.
He did mention it a little bit on Sunday during a closing rally in Henrico County, where he tried to make the case that what he said, the liberal Democrats have sided more with drug dealers instead of victims of fentanyl overdoses. And speaking of fentanyl, that sort of plays into the parents' rights issue that you've written a lot about, particularly in the epicenter in Loudoun County, where we have a key state Senate race on the ballot today. What happened out in Loudoun?
Yeah, so 8 students at a single Loudoun County high school overdosed on fentanyl within the span of about a month. And school leaders waited about 3 weeks to tell parents, the broader school community about this. Parents were not happy about that. And Youngkin just last week issued an executive order that requires school leaders to notify the whole school community, parents, about any school-connected overdoses.
Now, Loudoun, of course, has been the epicenter of the parents' rights movement for some time, because that was where we had sexual assaults in schools, and you wrote about how they worked to hold the school superintendent to account out there because of that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was one student assaulted another student, and they sort of swept it under the rug and transferred the student to another school where he did the same thing again. And so parents, of course, were pretty outraged at that.
Yep. So there's a lot going on today.
Mm-hmm. And these are just a few of the key issues that are playing out here today on Election Day. Thanks, Andrew Cain and Dave Ress, for joining me today. You can continue to follow our coverage all day today and tonight at richmond.com.